Hi, welcome back. This is Sue, and I'm here today to do my September wrap-up. I realize it's a little bit late, but I do apologize, but I have been sick for this whole week. In fact, still am sick with a very bad cold, so don't get too close to your computer screen. I don't want you to catch it. But anyway, I'm determined to get this wrap-up done and posted, so I'm going to get started. I got through 8 books this month, 4 audio and 4 books, so I'm going to start with the audio. And the first one I listened to was Lost Voices. This is a debut book by Sarah Porter. It's the first in a trilogy. And I'll go ahead and read the Goodreads description for you. 14-year-old Luce has had a tough life, but she reaches the depths of despair when she is assaulted and left on the cliffs outside of a grim, gray Alaskan fishing village. She expects to die when she tumbles into the icy waves below, but instead undergoes an astonishing transformation and becomes a mermaid. A tribe of mermaids finds Luce and welcomes her in, all of them, like her, lost girls who surrender their humanity in the darkest moments of their lives. Luce is thrilled with her new life until she discovers the catch. The mermaids feel an uncontrollable desire to drown seafarers, using their enchanted voices to lure ships into the rocks. Luce possesses an extraordinary singing talent which makes her important to the tribe. She may even have a shot at becoming their queen. However, she struggles to retain her humanity. Her struggles to retain her humanity puts her at odds with her new friends. Will Luce be pressured into committing mass murder? This is the first book in a trilogy. Lost Voices is a captivating and wildly original tale about finding a voice, the healing power of friendship, and the strength it takes to forgive. So yeah, this is the first mermaid tale. Sorry, couldn't resist. First mermaid tale I've ever read. I've not even seen A Little Mermaid from Disney. I mean, yeah. So it was kind of unique for me going in. I know there's a lot of mermaid books out there right now. This one just happened to be available audio. I thought, what the heck, I'll try it. And it's an interesting take on it, how she transforms into a mermaid. Now, I don't know if that's part of mermaid lore in fiction, or I always thought they were like totally separate creatures from humanity. But so that's how the author presents them here. They all seem to be lost girls that have gone through something very traumatic in their life and have transformed into mermaids. And most of the mermaids in this book seem to be very bitter and vindictive towards humanity. It's like they blame all of humanity for what they've gone through, almost forgetting their own humanity in the process. They were once humans themselves, but it doesn't matter. In this, their main goal is they have this singing voice that comes out of them and that lures the ships into the rocks to crash, and then they drown these sailors. And of course, Luce is very troubled by this. She seems to have a very, very powerful voice, very controlling, and almost, like I said, it rivals the queen of the group that she's with. And it kind of sets her apart, but she doesn't want to use her voice that way. She tries to find ways to change it. There are a few mermaids in there that aren't as vindictive, per se, as some of the others, but they are still focused on that one goal of bringing down these ships. There's one character in there named Anais. She becomes a mermaid about halfway through the book, and she is a total bitch. There's no other description for it. I absolutely hated that. She's just like a total bully. She tries to take control. She wants to be the leader from the moment she realizes what's happened to her and everything. And she sees Luce as a more of a rival almost than the queen. But she starts to turn the group against her, and it was horrible to see, and it made me frustrated that Luce doesn't stand up. No, bad choice of words, but doesn't stand up for herself in the book. But it was interestingly written, like a different take on it, like I said. Well written, good pacing for the book and everything. And I'm interested to see what happens with the rest of the story. So I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Then after that, about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I received an advanced copy called Sun by Lois Lowry. And it says it's a thrilling and long-awaited conclusion to The Giver. And actually, the bookmark that it came with inside says there are additional titles in the Giver quartet, meaning there are actually 4 books in this series, of which I haven't read neither of or any of the other ones. So I decided that I would go ahead and start with the Giver and read my way all the way through before I would start on Sun. So my library happened to have all 3 of the first books in the quartet available as audiobooks. So there's The Giver, Gathering Blue, and Messenger. So I listened to all three of those. The Giver is one I think most school children seem to be reading in high school and stuff. I think that's a Newbery Award winner. And this is sort of in an almost utopian type society. Our main character is Jonas. He's 12. I'm not sure if that refers to his age or year in school. It just they refer to him as a 12. And he's about to be given a position like in the society. It's almost like a graduation type ceremony with all the kids, and they're given a different job. Some take care of the elders, some take care of the newborns and the children. And Jonas ends up becoming, he gets some kind of quite a notable, almost like an honor. He's given the title of receiver, and he doesn't quite know what that means. And he's sent to go study with this older man, just like on the cover, who's known as the Giver. And the Giver holds a lot of like the memories and things of the people, and things that have been forgotten from society. Jonas always thought he's lived in this most perfect world. There's been no war, no anger. Everything is like the same all the way across the board. But with that kind of, it's almost like a naive take on his world. That's just how he sees it. And the Giver kind of opens his eyes throughout the story. So it was really interesting and really well written. I found the book a bit slow paced for me though. And for that, I only gave it 4 stars. But it was still an interesting story. And I like the characters and everything within there. From there, I followed on and picked up the second book in the quartet, which is Gathering Blue. Now, I expected this to follow The Giver, but in fact, it is a totally separate book. There are no characters from the first book in Gathering Blue. It's a slightly different society. I wouldn't call it utopian, but more of a dystopian society. And it follows the story of a young girl named Kira. Her father died many years ago in a hunting accident, and she's lived with her mother, who's a seamstress of some notoriety. She's quite good with her work and everything. But Kira herself is a cripple. She has a deformed leg from birth. And generally in this society, children born with deformities and things like that are taken to the field, meaning they're basically put to death. They're removed from society. But her mother fought for Kira and refused to let that happen. So she's been living in society and trying to learn her mother's skills. And actually, she has a greater skill than her mother. She has almost magical qualities for when she does these sewing. And after her mother's death, this one vindictive woman in the village wants to kick her out and take over her area and everything. And she's saved because of her abilities. But during the course of the story, she, again, has her eyes open. She's a bit naive to some of the other things going on in society, and her eyes are open, and she learns about what's actually happening and tries to change it. So it's a kind of a similar plot line in a way, in terms of the growth of the character, like it was in The Giver for Jonas. It is the same kind of for Kira here. She has one good companion, a young boy named Maddie. He's kind of this rambunctious little thieving boy, but he's a great help to her in this story. And this particular book was even slower than The Giver, and for that I kind of gave it only 3 stars. And again, the fact that it didn't follow the Giver, it kind of was a bit disjointed for me. It was like I was expecting more continuity between the two. So this one I only gave 3 stars. When I moved on to Messenger, I found Maddie. Maddie's the main character in this book. So this is almost a direct sequel to Gathering Blue. So still, again, I was wondering, where does the Giver come back in? And we do have a reference in this book to Jonas, and I won't. It's kind of brief and really subtle, but there is some kind of connection that we get in this book that kind of joins these 3 books together. Presumably, Sun will be more of a sequel to The Giver, and we'll tie all these things together. But this particular book, Messenger, follows the story of Maddie. He's now grown up 6 years later from events that took place in Gathering Blue. He's moved away from Kira and where he lived. He's traveled through the forest with an older man named Seer, who's actually Kira's father. And together they've gone to live in a place called Village. It's literally the name of it, Village. And under Seer's guidance and the rest of the village there, he's really grown, become educated, and an important member of society. Everyone in there seems to be, the names of everything seem to be very labeled exactly for what they are. Village is called Village. Forest is called Forest. The leader of the village is called Leader. So it's when you become an adult, you go through a naming ceremony, and this is something that Maddie's looking forward to. He's approaching his adulthood, and he's looking forward to hopefully getting the name of Messenger, because that's sort of what he does in the village. He travels back and forth with messages for the people in the village. He goes through the forest to where he used to live, to Kira, to pass messages on there. So he's hoping for the name of Messenger. He thinks that would be a really great name for him. And we just kind of follow his story through the growth and everything like that. He is, again, living in what you would describe as a utopian society. Everything seems perfect. This village he lives in is extremely welcoming to all members. Anybody is welcome to come live there. If you have deformities, it doesn't matter. It's not like Kira's village was. In fact, many people have escaped from places like that to come live in a village. But ever since this place called Trade Mart arrived, where people would go to trade things, people have started to change. And Maddie's noticed that they're not as open to outsiders anymore. In fact, they're trying to shut the village down. And even Forest is not as welcoming to Maddie as it used to be. It seems to be getting a darker place and more dangerous to pass through. And with village closing up, it's Maddie's last chance to pass through Forest to retrieve Kira to come back and live with her father. And so it's sort of a lot more action and danger taking place in this story. Intrigue as to what's happening to the villagers. Why are they changing? What is this trade mart? How is it affecting these people? So I found this whole book much more interesting and much more fast paced. And I gave this one actually a 5 out of 5 stars. So I'm looking forward to, again, like I said, hopefully in November I'm going to get to this one and finish up Sun, and I'll finish up that quartet. But it's really interesting. Worth reading. They're pretty quick reads, the first 3. They're pretty short. So anyway, that's all I have for the audios. On to the books. And the French Kiss. And that's by Stephanie Perkins. I know, contemporary romance. I read this on a challenge with another booktuber, Erin, over at Wrath's Queen. I had to read this before the end of the year. She had to read Harry Potter before the end of the year. We have both successfully concluded our challenge. I did enjoy this story. I did a review on it, so you can check it out on my channel. I won't go into any more detail on it, but I did give it 4 out of 5 stars. And I'm going to be reading more contemporary romance based on that one. And then I also read Enclave by Ann Aguirre. And I read this because of the YouTube book club is going to be reviewing this tomorrow, which is October 6th. And I think it's on the Book Bloggers channel. It's Lindsay Mead's channel, but you can also link through it through Bunny Cates' channel. And this is a YA dystopian, YA post-apocalyptic. And it's about society that's living underground in an enclave surrounded by various network of tunnels that link up to other enclaves. And there's been some kind of apocalyptic event above ground, so most people are living below ground. And you're not really named. You're considered a brat from birth till you're 15 years old, where you get an official name title. And there's a whole ceremony that goes through this. And our main character, Girl 15, gets the name of Deuce. And her main goal in her life since she's young is training to be a hunter, or huntress in this case. And the job of the huntress is to go out and hunt for food for the group and to fight. There's this roaming group of, what they refer to them as freaks in the book, but they're zombie-like characters that feed on human or any other kind of flesh they can come across. So it's a very dangerous job, but it's something she's always dreamed of doing, is becoming a huntress. And she's paired with this young boy named Fade, who he didn't grow up in her enclave. He apparently came from outside. He says from above ground, but no one's ever really believed his stories. But the course of this book has a lot of action, a lot of really good pacing for it. We learn of another group, another enclave that's come under attack by the freaks. They seem to be changing, becoming organized, almost intelligent. And, you kind of wonder, how is this happening? These are like zombie-like creatures. How could this be? And, I don't want to go too much into it because they're going to be doing this on the book review. But, needless to say, I just really, really enjoyed this. There is a bit of a love triangle that creeps in at the end that I didn't quite enjoy. I didn't like the other character that kind of comes into it. I don't see how she could, because of events that took place earlier, in their meeting, so that kind of bothered me, and that kind of knocked my rating down. Otherwise, I would have given it a perfect score. Otherwise, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. And it's definitely worth picking up. It's the first of a trilogy, and Outpost, I believe, is the next book that's already out. So I'm going to be picking that one up very soon. And then the last two books that I read were by Maria V. Snyder, and it's a duology. First one is Inside Out, and the second one is Outside In. Some cases it's available as a bind-up that's just called Inside. But yeah, this is the story of a society. It's kind of like a sci-fi type story. Society that's like in this giant cube known as Inside. It's 4 levels, divided 9 cubes on each level. And the lower levels are crammed with people, including our main character, Trella. They're sort of like the lower class of society. They go about cleaning inside, keeping it running, and everything like that. Where the upper class live in more spacious cabins. They have the better jobs. They have maybe the jobs of the pop cops, as they're called. They're population control cops, but pop cops for short. If they find you breaking any rules, you're liable to get sent to the call it chomper, which literally chops you up into little bits and spits you out, and you're dead. It's quite brutal. But they're very, very controlled at everything, and they work long hours, and like I said, very little space for them. But Trella, our main character, is a bit of a loner. She tends to try and stay away from everybody else as much as she can. She'll even sleep in the pipes and ducts and stuff where she works, just to not have to live in these huge barracks with thousands of other people. And she really has very few friends. One of her main friends is Cog. It's a short name, I think. Kogan is the full name. He introduces her to this prophet who claims he knows where Gateway is. And Gateway is this mythical kind of description for the way out of Inside. It's kind of been passed down generation after generation. And he's told her these tales before, but this guy is, for some reason, she's convinced this guy might know something. And she starts to work with him and to try and find where Gateway is. And in the process kind of causes a bit of a rebellion. It's a really, really, really interesting story. I love the character of Trella and Riley. She kind of runs into this upper while she's sneaking about and finds this quiet place, and then it turns out Riley's kind of hiding up there himself. And it was just a really nice story. I really enjoyed it. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. And I'm not going to go into too much detail of book 2, but there is, besides the enemies, you know, the scrubs, you might say, versus the uppers, a third kind of enemy shows up in this book. And I wasn't even expecting that. This was really intriguing and made the book even better, I think. But just going to give it an equal rating of 5 out of 5 stars. Definitely worth picking this up. Because I was sick this weekend, my plan was to finish reading this. I kind of finished it a couple days after, like I think it was like the 2nd of October. So my plans and my Friday reads was to start on J.K. Rowling's Casual Vacancy, but this is not going to happen. Let me just check something here. Yeah, this did not happen. So with October coming, I have a specific type of books I want to read, you know, little scary books and stuff. So I'm going to have to put this one aside for November, and it's going to kill me. I really wanted to kick into that, but instead, I'm going to do a little bit of an October TBR here for you, and this is what I plan on reading, and in fact, I've already started. I'm halfway through Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake. I've been dying to read this one. I've been holding out for so long for October to get the right mood for it and everything, so I'm really enjoying this so far. It's definitely exciting. Another one I plan to read this month is Project 17 by Laurie, Faria, Stolarz, and this is about 6 teens that they break into an abandoned mental institution, and they're going to, like, spend the night there and film their activities and stuff like that. Apparently this place is haunted. So definitely a great October read. Then I had picked up Gretchen McNeil's 10 Teens, 3 Days, 1 Killer. Thought that'd be a really, really great one for October. There's also The Dead of Winter by Chris Priestley I plan on reading. This is described as a middle grade, about an orphan boy, a haunted house, and a poltergeist with an itch for revenge. So it's a pretty short read. Should be able to get through that one. And if there's not any problems this month, I do hope to also finish book 2 in this series, The Girl of Nightmares. That's kind of the last one on my list, but definitely want to get through this other bunch. So that's what I plan on reading for October and what I read for September. Hope you guys have gotten some good reads. And what have you got planned for October? You got any good scary ones I need to know about? something besides Stephen King. I have read some Stephen King, but looking for something different. Yeah, if you got any good suggestions, put them down below. Let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.